Actually, you know what's interesting is side note, but maybe another video discussion. More than like the money, I know a lot of people like always want to know about the money houses and stuff, but actually, if you look at it, the 6, 8, and 12 are probably way more interesting houses.
6, 8, and 12?
Yeah, because you want to know why are you suffering, and
Yeah.
isn't that the whole point? Like you're back on this earth or whatever, and you want to understand. Yeah.
On that note, I always want to bring this up. No one is exempt from those houses if they're empty. It doesn't mean you're exempt. That house has a ruler and is sitting somewhere. So that house is getting house aspects, is getting aspects from a planet. For example, let's say your ascendant is at 3 degrees.
Hmm.
Every house at 3 degrees, it's like a doorway into that house. So whatever that's transiting, when it hits that 3 degree mark, is hitting the 3 degree mark of every house, whether if it's a sextile, square, trine,
Wait,
whatever
wait, back up. Sorry, say that again. Okay, so basically, if your
ascendant
ascendant
is at
is
three
sitting at
degrees.
3 degrees,
Yes,
that means all of the, like every house
every house.
also. Okay.
It's an open door. It's getting through that 3 degree mark of that house. So it doesn't mean you're exempt. There's interaction. There are interactions happening in that house. So you have to pay attention. You know, when the dasha of the sun starts, and let's say you do have Leo in the sixth house and the sun is completely somewhere else, you better believe that that sixth house is activated 100%, even though there's nothing there. So where the sun is sitting, I don't know, let's say the sun is sitting in Aquarius. So when the sun's dasha starts, Saturn is also becoming activated secondarily. So the chart is very dynamic and there's a lot of things happening. And I always want to emphasize this because when people start, fair enough, because they have to learn how to layer things, but please don't stop at there's nothing there or there is something there. They just keep learning. The dynamic of the chart is so complex and so immense. You can spend another 20 years and you'll notice you've only scratched the surface. There's so much going on simultaneously. There's so much going on simultaneously that this is one of the reasons why astrologers can't predict 100%.
Hmm.
If someone's computing system up there was so advanced and so good, and they could understand all this dynamic that's happening at the same time, they could make dead on predictions every time. But this is the problem.
But there's also a lot of yogas, right, with the sixth house itself. If it's
Yeah.
gone, like a Vipreet Raj yoga. If it's,
It's not
so, what do
just
you
being
do in your
easy. I just want
course?
to encourage people to always keep learning. There's so much, especially if you're a beginner, because people have a tendency to just look at the chart and be like, oh my God, oh no, I have a Venus or a Mercury there, or oh yes, I have a Mars there. Oh, there's nothing there anyway. That's not how it works. So you just got to keep digging and learning. Stuff
So,
is happening there.
yes, I was gonna say, like in your courses, then what do you like? I guess you layer everything
Yeah,
as you
you just
progress.
you learn, yeah, layer by layer, yeah. And then you start to be able to understand the multitude of dynamics happening at the same time. And with practice, the brain just becomes automatic. Like I'm keep saying, like we can cast our gaze in a different way on a chart. When you don't have practice, you literally have to hold this in your mind that this is an Artha house. Artha or the earth signs are about this. The sun is about this. So when it goes here and the nature of this house, what happens? We already got about 4 layers here, right? But when
Hmm.
you've had so much practice, you just, you know, when you drive, sometimes you don't even know how you got from your home to your destination
Yeah.
because you've done it so much. At the beginning, this does not happen because you're so focused and attention oriented and attentive that you notice everything. But with practice, it becomes subconscious. All of that processing of gas, brake, wheel. Oh, I didn't hit the person. You didn't even notice the person, but you didn't hit them. Everything's just subconsciously now wired into the brain. Exact same thing happens with astrology. With a lot of practice over time, all of these components that we're talking about right now is just there and it's operating, but it
How
requires
long does, how
practice.
long, I was going to say, how long does, I mean, a lot of students probably, that's the first question they ask. How long is it going to take me before I can do that? But I guess everybody's different.
Everybody's different. People have different aptitudes for everything in life. That's one factor. I would say 5 years of full on practice a lot of it becomes subconscious and you become good.
But when you say practice, so does that mean they're practicing with you, or or you send them out into the wild, like not the wild, but you know what I mean? Like,
Well, no, but
that's
they learn the fundamentals from a teacher, hopefully, but practice is actually what they do. And you actually become good the moment that you are no longer self-interested in astrology, which means a lot of people start astrology because they want to understand their chart. The
Mhm.
moment that you start to become actually disinterested in your own chart and you find great interest in other people and events and things of that nature, that's when you actually become good.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
if you are just one chart in the world and that's all you're trying to learn, you can do that in terms of self-understanding. But if you want to become an astrologer, the moment you become interested in other people and other facets of the world and try to see it in a chart, you actually become very good. And when that happens, you find yourself opening charts and studying them all the time. What's the chart of that? What is that related? What you know?
Which is why anyone out there, side note, in the beginning of the video, we mentioned she lost all her data. So if anyone has any IT skills, let her know in the comments.
Why is it not giving me the thumbs up? Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense because so you're saying like everybody starts because they want to understand their own situation, but the minute
a lot of people, yeah.
you end up practicing because then you become so detached from that and you're more focused on just learning all these other people and looking at multiple charts and
Yeah,
all
you
this
want to
stuff.
learn astrology. You know what? You do not love another human being when you're interested in being loved. The moment that you become disinterested
Oh,
in
that's
yourself,
deep
yes, the moment
for a
you
lot of
actually
other
become
reasons.
disinterested in your own needs and you give yourself to another person, that's the moment you actually love. The same things with astrology. When you are just self-interested, you don't yet love astrology. You love astrology when you're just some minute factor in the whole picture of the thing because you do have a chart. But you're interested in the world, you're interested in people, you're interested in how things work. That's when you fall in love. And that's when you actually become good. You become really good when that happens. So to answer your question of when do you become good, that's one of the indicators of when somebody becomes good.
Yeah, because I'm sure you've had a lot of students, like the first question, it's kind of like, well, when can I start reading everybody's chart? Right? Like they get super excited about this idea
Yeah.
of I'm going to be able to read my chart, my brother's chart, my family's chart, or
As
whatever.
soon as they learn the first few fundamentals, they can start learning a chart. So what are the planets? What are the signs? What are the houses? What are the aspects? This is very basic, and then they can get basic interpretations. But if you want to get to the complexities of things, it takes a hell of a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Like
And
to
you've been
look
doing
at,
this very long.
yeah, like this one time we were having a discussion, I told you something about the chart.
Oh yeah, she was yeah. Let
That's
me yeah, that was insane actually. That's a good thing to bring up about yeah,
it becomes
it
like that.
was it was something I never asked about. It was something that never should have come out. It
Mhm.
was almost like a secret of mine.
Yeah,
But it was interesting. I think we talked about that in another
yeah,
video, but it was crazy because you said it had to come out at that time
yeah.
because it's something that should have it would never have like I would have never discussed it with anyone.
Mhm.
So it was weird that you literally just pulled like you had asked me about something and maybe you might I don't know if you noticed my reaction. I was almost like awkward about it. Like, what do you mean?
Silence.
Yeah. Yeah. Because honestly, it was something I wasn't ever going to ask about, discuss, but you all of a sudden glanced at something and it was like a literal like glance. Like
Yeah.
I think it was within like 10 minutes, not
Yeah.
even.
This is a subconscious in the background just doing the work, and then it's like doof,
But it
right?
was so detailed.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a general thing. It was so specific and so detailed, which is why like a lot of people would be so anyone also who's skeptical about like
Mm.
most people would be a lot skeptical, but in my case, yeah, like you said, it was so random and it was you glanced, it was a chart that you don't look at all the time or you haven't seen in years, a decade, I don't know, like a
Yeah.
while. It's not like it's a chart that you look at or you know inside out. And I think we talked about this also in another video that had you looked at that chart maybe 10
Mm.
years ago, that would have never come up.
Yeah,
So it's
there's that
also
factor too. Like what needs to be seen will be seen, but you got to be able to see it. You got to be able to read it. So that practice
to,
component, this is why the practice is so important. Otherwise, you can't pick up the subtlety and the nuances and the details. You just have a generality of something good or bad is going to happen with your sibling and your mother, but to be able to pinpoint something. So yeah, and I really feel like that happens when there's disinterest in the self and there's now one has fallen in love with this system and its methods and what it tries to explain and do. Yeah. We should get back to the sex health. We always do this in every video, just get on the topic of astrology.